Greetings, future scholars of America. It's Mr. Barfield here with another grammar video. Today's topic is verbs. Feel free to pause, rewind, fast forward, or slow motion the video at any time you need to get the best notes possible. So a verb, it expresses an action or a state of being. Verbs are necessary to make a statement, a complete statement. The primary characteristic of a verb is its ability to express time, aka its tense, past, present, or future. We will talk more about tense forms in a later video though. But for a quick overview, this is what they look like. Present, they walk home. Past, they walked home. Future, they will walk home. And this is a different type of verb that we'll talk about later in the video. There are three main types of verbs. You've got action, you've got helping, and you've got linking. An action verb tells what someone or something does. It's an action. There are physical actions and mental actions. For example, the student writes is physical, whereas the student understands is a mental action. Have, has, and had are normally helping verbs, but can be action verbs in certain circumstances when they name what the subject owns or holds, like in this sentence, the director has a script in his hand. Action verbs can be transitive or intransitive. A transitive action verb is followed by something that answers the question what or whom, like cats see what? Their prey in the dark. Whereas an intransitive verb is an action verb not followed by something that answers the above questions. So if you had a sentence that was just cats see, period, it would be intransitive. But this sentence is also intransitive. Cats see well in the dark. Well in the dark is answering the question how cats see, not what they see. Tricky. Next up, we have linking verbs. Just like the name suggests, they link two things, the subject of the sentence with a word or expression that identifies or describes the subject. They are always followed by a complement. If you have a linking verb followed by nothing, then it is broken. Pay attention. It's a compliment with an E, not an I. A compliment with an I is like, oh, you look so good today, whereas a compliment with an E is like, you complete me. Predicate noun or a nominative is the first type of compliment we're going to talk about. The technical term is predicate nominative, but that's really a mouthful. I prefer the term predicate noun, personally. It's a noun that follows the linking verb and defines the subject by telling what it is, whereas a predicate adjective is an adjective that follows the linking verb and describes the subject by telling what it is like. Let's see some examples. Mr. Barfield was the director. That's a predicate noun because it says what Mr. Barfield is. Whereas this sentence says what Mr. Barfield is like, or what the director is like. Stern yet kind. These are adjectives. This is a noun. Hint, if you can put the in front of a complement and it still makes sense, it's a predicate noun. Whereas if you put very in front of the complement and it makes sense, it's a predicate adjective. For example, if you put very in front of director, very director does not make sense. It's obviously a PN. Here are some common linking verbs. You should know them and write them down in your notes. Remember, any linking verbs can also be action verbs. It's tricky. For example, grew in these two examples. The director grew angry and the director grew a beard. How do you tell if one's a linking verb or one's an action verb? Well, if you can replace the verb with is and it still makes sense, it's a linking verb. For example, the director is angry makes sense. The director is a beard. It's not the same thing. Third type of verb, helping. Helps the main verb tell about an action or make a statement. They're sometimes called auxiliary verbs. I don't like that phrase because it's a mouthful. It's too many letters. I prefer helping, but if you see the term auxiliary, at least you know that it means helping. Helping verbs combine with an action verb to create a verb phrase, which consists of one or more helping verbs followed by a main verb or an action verb. For example, they are acting in a play right now. The helping verb is are. The main verb is acting. It's the present participle form of that verb, by the way. Together, they form the verb phrase are acting. The most common helping verbs are be, have, do, and will. Forms of be. There are many types of the form of the verb to be. They include am, is, are. These are present tense forms of be. Was and were are past tense forms of be. And there are also many forms of have, like has and had. Do has does and did, whereas will, it's just will. There's a great little song to help you remember all the helping verbs. You should have all the helping verbs written down in your notebook, and if the song helps you remember them, then use it. Helping verbs, there are 23. Am, is, are, was, and were, been, been, and be. Hey, have, has, had, do, does, did, shall, should, will, and would. There are 5 more helping verbs: may, might, must, can, could. Thanks for watching. Bye.